Hey guys, and welcome back to In Search of Tone. So in the last video, we talked about live amps versus modeling and how my board was set up maybe a little bit more towards the modeling side. Now, I am able to run 4-cable method to the amp. However, that does include taking some things apart on the pedal board to be able to accommodate that. Now, it's not the end of the world. Really, it just means kind of pulling up the HX stomp, running a cable to the amp, and everything else is pretty simple. Now, with that being said, we have a project, which you're going to see on the desk right now. I have a bunch of right angle pancake connectors. I forget what brand these are, but I've used them in the past and they work very, very well. Throw those off to the side. I don't know, call it ironic, but we're going to use no-name connectors that I've used to great success. And Mogami 2319 wire. Obviously, I put more stock in my wire than I do everything else. We do have these jacks are actually switchcraft, and so mainly with these, it's you know, there's only so much you can do with a jack, but I find that these last a long time. And so, you know, the price difference isn't that much. I like to use them. Now, finally, what we have here is, and you're going to have to forgive me here. If I can find it, I will maybe put some text below or put in the description, but we have a mini pedal enclosure. I can't remember which exact size this is. They all have a model number for whatever size you're working with. But I thought this would be a good idea. Got your screws inside. Now, we may run into trouble with this. What I'd like to do is I would like to have 3 in, 3 out on this. And I'm not sure we're going to be able to accommodate that. Basically, what we're looking at is a mini patch bay. I'm not doing any buffers. This is just going to be a straight in out. Really, you're not going to run into any more tone suck than what you get with the pedal board itself. The idea here is that we can easily run the amp or just the pedal board. The first stage really is we just got to mock this guy up. And what we're looking at here is, can we get these guys aligned in here in a way that they will work, but I can still have enough of a clearance where I'm not going to have an issue and still be able to get all 3 of them in there. That might be easier said than done. So what we'll do here is just dump these guys out. Interesting that these didn't come with any lock washers at all, but you know what, whatever. To each their own. Let's just drop some washers on the floor. That's cool. I can always find them later. It's not a big deal. So what I'm thinking is we can mock these guys up kind of like this. And if I'm correct, just by kind of loosely tightening down on that nut, we should be able to hold these guys in place with just the washers. And it'll kind of give us an idea of what we have going on here. Space-wise, at least. In fact, you know what? Did I even buy enough of these? No, I got enough. I have just the right amount. If we can make this work. And that's going to be a big if here. You know, we might have to change things up a bit. My idea was that maybe we could design a patch bay in a smaller enclosure than what I have seen online. There are some great options. Absolutely wonderful options out there. But if we can make this work, you know, we might be onto something here. Let's see what we got though. Do I seriously not? Oh, I don't have enough washers. Interesting. So, okay, I see what they did. So not only no lock washers, but we only have one flat washer per piece, which might actually not even be that bad. Honestly, you know, if our washer's on the outside, you know, it's going to be sticking out quite a bit. As you should be able to see on there once I move my fat hands here. But I mean, really, that's going to give us the maximum amount of space. The real question is, can we fit all 6 of them in here? And I'm really curious. This was really, you know, just an experiment when I ordered the pieces for it. But now I'm kind of excited. Now that I'm running the HX Stomp as my main kind of deal, and using the amp more at home than I am on stage, being able to quickly and easily go back and forth just seems like the thing to do. And really, we've got lots of room. We can, you know, we can turn these and orient them just a little bit differently. You know, the wire runs are going to be uber short. For the wire, we're going to use this cloth pushback wire. This stuff is super nice. You know, there may be some advantages to using the I don't know if it's rubber or silicone cased wire, but this stuff I love. And the reason I love it is because, number one, it comes pre-tinned. And so I set this wire up, I heat it, just get a little bit of solder on it, we're good to go, right? Well, at the same time, all I got to do is push back some of that cloth, and I'm ready to go. And then I get my solder joint in there, and I can massage that cloth back to the solder joint. And there's no heat shrink cable involved. I've never really had an issue with any kind of extra hum or anything. I use this on all my guitars when I change the pickups on them, especially if I'm rewiring the entire guitar. And usually when I change the pickups, that's exactly what I do. I put all new switches, new potentiometers, new jacks, kind of new everything. I do find that I get better results with that. You know, your mileage may vary just a little bit, but you know, when you really think about it, in the grand scheme of things, you're going to put 200 plus into a set of pickups on your guitar. Do you really want to skimp out when it comes to your components? I say no. I think that, you know, a big part of, you know, the final tone that you get out of a set of pickups is kind of make or break with the components involved. Now, you may not audibly notice the difference in a cheaper jack. You may not audibly notice the difference in a cheaper switch or a cheaper potentiometer, but the thing is, the mileage on a cheaper switch or a cheaper potentiometer or a cheaper jack is noticeable. So, well, now comes time to find that washer. We are in luck. So, as I was saying, your mileage may vary, but I've had more problems with components that I have resoldered than anything else. And like I said, the price difference is pretty negligible. Okay, so now the first two I spaced out quite a bit. Obviously, I can tighten those up a little bit, and we can kind of even these out. I think this is going to work really, really good. I'm going to go ahead and drill these off camera. I'm going to do this out in the garage where, you know, it's not such a big deal. I'm definitely not going to want aluminum shavings in the studio space. But we're going to go ahead and get these all pre-drilled, ready to go, ready to wire. And then when we come back, we'll be just wiring these bad boys up. Like I said, it's not going to take a lot of wire. We're going to make this super easy on ourselves. We're going to do, white for one side, black for the other. Doesn't matter really which is which. Imagine probably do like white for the sleeve, black for the tip. No big deal. And yeah, I think this is going to work out great. The other thing is I've seen other products like this with a normal size enclosure, probably more like boy, excuse that. Let's just drop stuff everywhere. Probably more like what you see in like an electro-harmonics enclosure. These guys, they're kind of slimmer than a lot. Let's see if we can find... This isn't the best example ever, but your Boss style enclosure or your TC electronic. Now, it's not a crazy big difference, but there are differences. That TC electronic enclosure is bigger. Now, obviously they have to make room for your stereo stuff, but from what I've seen from the electro-harmonic stuff, this is kind of their standard size. Yeah, they did have a bigger enclosure back in the day, but any of your new pedals, and I don't know if this is considered the Nano series or what it is, they're a little bit slimmer, a little bit shorter. There's a pretty good difference in the size of the enclosures, height wise, just standing off the pedal board. Huge difference when you look at the Boss enclosures. It is kind of night and day how much bigger that Boss enclosure is. You look at like the height difference. Kind of nice though. You throw a couple of these Boss pedals on your board, they're really easy to hit, especially if you wear any kind of boot or bigger shoe. Anyway, so this would be kind of the size of enclosure that I've seen most of these builds with. And not that it's a problem, but if I can make this enclosure as is and maybe replace a couple of these jacks with a buffered jack, I really think this could be, kind of a thing. And really, that's kind of all you really need as far as most of your patch bays. You have some kind of input output send return for your effects loop, and especially if you're integrating some kind of modeler and you want to be able to do some of the higher functions of that, where maybe you're using the front end of your actual amp for some things, you're not for others. It really gives you a lot to play with there. Like I said, I haven't experienced any real tone suck with the setup I have. I don't think this is going to add anything. Yes, you would benefit from a buffer, but as is, I don't think this is going to make a huge difference in what we have going on. Tool-wise, I'll be using my Weller. It's a 40-watt soldering iron. I think in watching some of JHS's content, I think they're suggesting a 70 or 80 watt. I do think that they're onto something there, because this thing does run a little bit cold, but it does work just fine. We have some various other tools just in case. I don't think we'll need anything really other than the soldering iron and the solder. And I do have some channel locks because I'm crude, and that's how I'm going to tighten the nuts down after I'm done. Just in case, I do have a solder sucker. These are great for when you screw up. I am human. I have been known to screw up. So, when we get back here, we'll be soldering some wires and having all of the real fun. Okay, and we are back. So as you can see, I drilled the holes and already mounted the jacks. That was just a process I figured we could save for off camera. They're not perfect, but they're good enough. So for the jacks, the drill bit size is a 3/8. I went ahead and pre-drilled a smaller pilot hole. It is definitely a good idea to go ahead and use a punch to make sure your holes are nice and centered. I didn't measure anything out, so although I did use a punch, they're still not perfect. And it is what it is. We're not going to worry about it. This is just the first that we're going to make here. And we'll try different designs and different things, different size enclosures, see what works. So, also off camera, I did use my multimeter to check and make sure I knew what is what. And so, these guys here, I don't know if you can really see it, but this ear here, which is connected to this little piece right there. So that is the ring part of your connector. And so if you don't know what we're talking about here, we're talking about this part of the connector here. And for the tip, which makes contact here, that's going to be this ear right here. And so obviously when you go to the other side, it's going to be the opposite. So you're going this connection to this connection. Then you're going to cross over for these two. I do not think that's going to cause any issues as far as noise. I don't think the proximity of these are going to cause any noise. If they do, there's things we can try. We can desolder some of these joints and go ahead and put some heat shrink tubing on the ones that are super close to each other. Like I'd be worried about maybe, well, most of them except for these outside two, just because they're so close to the next connection there. But again, I don't think we're going to have an issue there. So what we are going to do is we are going to go ahead and use, let's say, actually we'll use the black wire for the ring. And what we're looking for is just a little bit extra. So if I go here to here, that's not bad. And since they're all pretty close to the same, we're just going to go ahead and cut 3 lengths that are pretty much identical, which should be fine. And like I said, you just push this guy back just a little bit. We'll insert that wire there. And we might actually be in a little bit of trouble here lengthwise. We might have to get some pliers involved. Let's see here. One of them things, you know it's going to be super tight, but you don't realize just how tight it's going to be. So I went a little longer than I had planned. That is okay. That is okay. So we're going to, oh my gosh. We are doing good today. Let me tell you, we are doing good today. All right, let's try this again. Push that guy back. Get that in there. And boy, what did we do? How did I measure that so wrong? I may have to shorten that. Well, actually, we might be okay. One thing that we don't want is for the cloth on this guy to be in the way. Let's try this again. Honestly, let's cut just a little bit off of that guy. See, the thing is if that cloth is actually in the way, it's going to dirty up our connection. It's not something that we want to see. So let's go ahead. We'll actually do one side at a time. How about that? So let's go ahead. We'll just place that guy in there. We're going to start off. Not that you can really see, but we are going to go ahead and clean that tip off. Should be plenty hot right now. And not too bad, not too bad. Now, if we're lucky, we can scooch that shielding back. We're going to kind of bend this guy up here. And hopefully guess you guys can't really see that too well. We can just kind of bend very carefully. This probably would have been easier with standard wire, but you know what? Each one of these we do is going to be a lesson learned, and that's okay. Now, I am not the best at soldering, as you may have figured out. But that's okay. And you know what? This is going to be a bit of a long video. And that is okay as well. Well, it's okay with me anyway. I don't know if that's okay with you guys. But we'll just do what we do. Now, I should have a trash can in here. I do not. Because ideally, what you're going to want to do is clip your ends directly into a trash can. But like I said, I don't have one. So, shame on me. Oh my gosh. Can we do worse? Did I just clip that too short? I probably clipped that too short, huh? Boy, am I an idiot. All right. You know what? I actually prefer this way anyway. Okay. Let's just get cruising. Well, I'm having a hard time with that joint. What's going on here? Am I just not heating the... There we go. Boy, that's ugly. Clean that tip off. Like I said, I ain't no professional. I feel like I'm overheating this jack like crazy. Alright, that looks better. That looks way better. Excuse my unprofessionalism here. Like, wow. Are we serious? Okay. I'm gonna go about yay long. We'll bend this guy back over here, just like that. Being careful not to kind of screw up our solder joint that we just made. Just a little on the hot side. And hopefully we can just, oh yeah, just kind of finagle that guy in there. I don't know if, yeah, you guys can see that. Let's see if we can do a better job on this guy, shall we? Come on. Oh, muy better. Way, way better. Oh, man. Yeah, it almost looked like we knew what we were doing on that one. Don't tell anyone. Mistake us for professionals. We don't want that, do we? Oh, goodness gracious. Give me a little bit extra slack there. Righty-o. Hook that guy just a teeny bit. All right. Now this cloth pushback wire is actually pre-tinned, so it maintains its shape pretty well when you bend it around like that. Just another reason why I like the stuff. And just gonna have one more. You know, some people say don't blow on it. I don't care. I really don't care what people say about stuff like that, because in my book it's fine. I don't think you're adding any extra contaminants, and if you are, it's not that big of a deal. I think there's far worse things that you could do to contaminate a solder joint. So, actually this guy, we're gonna have to redo that just a hair. Make sure that we're actually getting connection there. I don't want the solder being the only thing connecting, if that makes any sense. I want good contact with the actual metal surface. And voila! So there's one side done. In the hope of making this video just slightly shorter, I'm going to go ahead and maybe, well, no. You know what? This can be a long video. Not like I got anything else going on today. We're going to go ahead, do this. Again, we'll just kind of J-hook that. In fact, if we start doing something like that, a little bit of a hook to it. I think this white wire is actually going to be quite a bit easier to do than the black wire was, and mainly because there's more length to play with. It's going to be a lot easier to maneuver over, and that's going to make this job way easier. We're going to kind of try to cross all these at more of like a 90. Not sure that it matters, but in the hopes of at least trying not to create any additional noise. Just going to go ahead and do it anyway. Oh my gosh, what the heck. Freaking shielding's trying to come through on me. Alright, we're going to go ahead and just kind of... Alright, just like that. Probably should have put a little bit of extra slack just in case I got to take these out and work on them, but you know what? I don't care that much. Could actually, now that we're talking about it, just kind of give a little bit of bend to that wire. About like that. Just not that if there's any issues we'll be able to really take it apart without desoldering anyway, but you know, whatever, it is what it is. So far these solder joints actually look halfway decent. I'm kind of impressed. You know, I'm not trying to toot my own horn or anything, but I'd say over time I've definitely gotten better. Of course, it wouldn't take much from where I started, I'll tell you that much. So, here we go on to the next guy. just like anything though, it's just practice, practice. Oh, that joint looks like dog pooey. Big old ball of solder on that one because we just did an ever so professional job on that. I think the important thing is not the beauty of the solder job, but more so just whether or not it actually is a good, clean solder joint. And so far, so good. So, cross our fingers for the next two. This is going way faster than I thought it would. Now, I thought about giving you guys a sound demo at the end of this, but honestly, I don't think it's going to be a necessary thing. And really just because, provided that the connection's good, that's all we're really worried about. Iron's a little dirty. So that will be the last thing we do in this video. How did I do that? So yeah, we'll go ahead and we'll check all the connections, make sure they're good. Come on. Would you just stay put? Nope, came right back out. What a jerk. What a jerk. Come on now. Why? Come on. There, now you ain't going nowhere. Solution to every problem. But in the next one, this guy should be on the board. So then at that point, okay, so we're not going to set up any different microphones. We're not here for audio quality so much as just the fact that it works for this particular video and for this part of the video. So what you're going to hear is my dynamic, or well, I guess that's a condenser mic that I've been speaking into the entire time. And we're going to run my 93 Main Japan Strat through our patch bay and straight into the Marshall Origin. Nothing special going on there. Set up super clean. I'm not going to do anything EQ wise, but okay, so we'll go ahead and go to the next one. Oop. Yep, that guy works. And the very last one. All right, well, in my opinion, that's a success, I guess. Everything works. We don't have any weird buzzes, hums. Like I said, all the resistances were the same, so nothing funky going on there. And really, it's a pretty easy build. I think the larger enclosure would be a plus for the assembly side. But apart from that, I think we're doing pretty good. So with that, as usual, go ahead and like and subscribe if you like what we're doing here. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Thank you guys. Bye.